big breaking news. President Trump just warned earlier today that he is going to invoke the Insurrection Act. He is warning that things are getting bad. He's saying that governors and judges are blocking his mission and what he's trying to do. And he is saying that the Insurrection Act is coming very soon. So let's get into all the details here. You guys can see there's a lot of news going on. All right, we have this announcement from President Trump on the Insurrection Act. We have a executive order being signed by the Chicago mayor as well, too, a anti-ICE executive order. We have Trump being blocked by a federal judge that he even appointed himself. And we also have more chaos in Portland, all right? And we have a statement from the Illinois governor even saying that he thinks Trump's going to invoke the Insurrection Act soon. But let's listen to Trump here first in his own words, just so you guys can hear exactly what he is saying about this Insurrection Act, and then we'll get into all these other stories as well. But listen to this really quick.
But if it was necessary, so far it hasn't been necessary, but we have an Insurrection Act for a reason. If I had to enact it, I'd do that. If people were being killed and courts were holding us up, or governors or mayors were holding us up, sure, I'd do that. But if it was necessary.
All right, so he just said that earlier today.
First and foremost, before we get started, I'd like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rekah Kwadash, and double honors to those great millstone where I learned his truth from, and also to those elect that are scattered abroad. I like to say, Shalom. Come back here today with another great and powerful lesson through the spirit and the power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. And the type of day lesson is Trump threatens to invoke the Insurrection Act. So I like to say shalom to all our listeners and learners. Hope to sweep you today and guide you back in the path of righteousness and back to your true power, which in fact is Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. So we seen in the opening clip, the opening video with Patrick Humphreys, we seen that now, that Trump is threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act. And that about it, when you look up that word insurrection, it goes into a violent uprising against an authority or government. So we're seeing right now, we're seeing that left and right all around, uprising, violence, it's constantly, increasing. A lot of things are happening, around the world, left and right. And I just went into a lesson yesterday, but, this right here, I need to, add to it a little bit more, through the spirit, because this is very spiritual. And we know that also, we know that we're very close to Jacob Trouble kicking off, at the beginning stages. So we're seeing right now, this is the plan all of the time, So, this man right, he can call insurrection. All of a sudden, martial law, to lock down all these cities, across America. So that's exactly what we want. This is this cruel law, AKA Nero. So we're seeing right now that, we're seeing that a lot of these judges right now, they're bucking up, they're going to block this order, they're going to do this, that, but we know that they're all a part of the same plan. And one thing about it, they go back and forth, and all of a sudden he gets what he wants. So we seeing how this go. We're not ignorant of Satan's devices. So right here, this Insurrection Act, is exactly what he wants, to make this place a total police state, to put you on a total lockdown, also total control, and also to implement that grain of rice. So we're seeing how these things are going. Also, we knowing that we're very close to World War III. World War III is constantly brewing. We're seeing right now it's rumors of Russia is constantly going into a NATO airspace. Also, it's rumored that America is getting ready to go to war with Russia. Also with China, a lot of different things that happen. Also, with Venezuela. So we're seeing these things are happening left and right. So the Lord is constantly causing these things to happen. And the middle Lord, we're constantly warning you left and right. Whether you were here or whether you will forbear. So these things are happening right before our eyes. Let's get a little bit of this report here by NBC News. It said Trump floats invoking the Insurrection Act, invoking, he wants to use it. So you see here, let's see what it says. It says the 19, Salakia said, the 1808 law, which allows the military to conduct civilian law enforcement activities under certain circumstances, says hasn't been used since the 1992 Los Angeles riots. So we know, what happened back in 1992 with those riots, and I think it was George, the father. I think it was that of those Bushes. Not the son, was the father during that particular time. But we're seeing right now they already used these things once before. But this man right here trying to use it because he wants to use it. He wants to be this dictator. So we slowly seeing these draconian laws are coming into place. So draconian going into a harsh law, severe laws. So we coming upon these times left and right, saying the devil's getting ready to come down with great wrath. Let's get a little bit more of this report. He said this earlier today, on Monday, so we seeing right now he moving in warp speed, put this thing into play. When you look around, when you get around to look up Project 25, it says here, President Donald Trump said Monday that he would consider invoking the Insurrection Act, so if it was necessary, particularly said if the courts or states and local officials delay his plans to deploy the National Guard. So, he's really threatened these mayors, these governors, these judges, so if he don't get what he want, he's just going to have to go ahead on and, say, oh, this is insurrection, lock down everything. That's exactly, what I'm saying, this man is going to do. We seen it happening with our own eyes. That's exactly what he want. He said, I'll do it if it was necessary. So far, it hasn't been necessary, but we have an Insurrection Act for a reason, said Trump told reporters in the Oval Office when he was asked under the conditions, said he would consider the rarely used 19th century law. Said if I had to erect it, said I'll do it. Said that's I'll do that. Said if people were being killed and courts were holding us up. Let's read this again. It said, if I had to erect it, so I'll do that. Said if people were being killed and the courts were holding us up, or governors or mayors were holding us up, sure, I'll do that. I mean, I want to make sure that the people aren't killed. We have to make sure that our cities are safe, he added. So right here, that's what he constantly coming with, telling you that, hey, we don't make everything safe. We want to make sure everyone, is taken care of. That you're like a person is speaking very sweetly, but we already know that war is in this man's heart. We want to make America great again. We want to make sure the streets are safe, the cities are safe, the peoples are safe. Keep coming with this, but we already know it all around us. War is constantly brewing on all different major fronts. And one thing about it, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. Once again, this man is getting ready to erect martial law, these lockdowns. And once again, we already know that, that word insurrection, once again, a violent uprising against an authority or government. So, when you go to 2nd Amos chapter 15, they shall not regard their kings or princes in the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So a lot of things is happening, so we get ready to see a lot of rebellion, a lot of revolt. A lot of things are constantly happening. We're seeing it, a lot of insurgency, rioting, sedition. These things are coming upon us at a fast pace. That's why we constantly go over these things left and right, because you will be well warned. So, we're seeing this act right here that they said Trump floats invoking the Insurrection Act. So, he's pretty much threatening. So I'll do it. We already know this red devil. You can't put nothing past this Agent Orange. So let's get this quick precept. I got a few more videos to bring it out to a little bit more edification. Let's get this right quick. We goes over this and he'll pretty much hear all the time too. But right now it's popping right now. These Bible prophets are popping loud and clear. It says here, Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12, it said, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. So for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he has but a short time. And Isaiah says, rejoice, therefore rejoice ye heaven. It's talking about Israel. It said, and ye that dwell in them, woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea. He's talking about the people. It says here, see, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knowing that he has a short time. So this is talking about, you know what I'm saying, when you go into the word devil, it goes into dabalos, and it means false accuser, someone that's slanderous, someone that's very cunning, deceiving. You know what I'm saying? One thing about it, we already know who that is, the modern day so-called white man, Esau, Edom, you know what I'm saying? So we know that he is the devil that the Bible speaks of, and he's seeing right now, he's getting ready to come down. We're seeing right now, he's coming down with these, draconian laws, you know what I'm saying? He's framing mischief with a law. These things are coming into play left and right, and we constantly warning you of these things that's happening right before our eyes. A lot of people still are saying this is not going to happen, that ain't going to happen. But guess what? It's happening right before your eyes. And a lot of people are not going to really see it until it happens. So that's exactly what's getting ready to happen right before your eyes. Exactly what we're seeing here. So let's get another quick precept. Let's go here to let's go here to Psalm chapter 94. Psalm chapter 94 and Psalm chapter 94 around verse 20. I think that's what I want right there. Psalm chapter 94. I went too far here. Let's go back out. Psalm chapter 94. I hit 20. Let's go here. Psalm chapter 94 and then scroll down to verse 20. It says here, it says, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with these, which frameth mischief by a law? So that's exactly what we're constantly seeing. This man is constantly framing mischief with a law, with a mandate, with what this insurrection act, these decrees, these unrighteous decrees that he had prescribed. Let's read in the NLT. It said, can unjust leaders claim that the Almighty is on their side? So leaders who decrees permit injustice. So that's exactly what he's getting ready to try to do. You know what I'm saying? The total lockdown, everything, and bring forth this NWO. So we see it right now that he's constantly framing that mischief with the law. I'll do it. But one thing about it, the Lord also will do it. You know what I'm saying? He's going to do it very well. Verse 21, it said, they gather themselves together against the souls of the righteous and condemn the innocent blood. And not about who is the righteous, talking about the elect, the true believers of Yahweh by Shema Shadi. You know, they constantly gathering themselves, they constantly getting together, they constantly making their plans, their agenda, to come up against what the children of Israel is called Jacob's trouble. And who will be the most in trouble? It's talking about the Negroes, the Latinos, the native Indians. I'm talking to you. We go over these things left and right, because one thing about it, when it happened, there ain't gonna be no more talking. Verse 22 said, but the Lord is my defense and my power, said is the rock of my refuge. So the Lord is gonna be that, that safe haven, that shield and buckler in these times of trouble. Verse 23 said, and he shall bring upon them their own iniquity, and shall cut them off in their own wickedness. Yea, the Lord our power shall cut them off. So that's exactly what we're waiting on. The Lord's getting ready to cut this man off. This man is getting ready to be taken out of the way. He's getting ready to be chased out of the world. He's getting ready to have no name. He's getting ready to go back into that lower state. He's getting ready to go into slavery for 1,000 years. After slavery, he will be totally eradicated. He will be no more. And so let's go here now. Let's get this. I think I quick another two little quick videos right quick. Then we'll start today's lesson. Let's go back out here. Let's get this one here first. Let's get this one. Let's get that instant repeat right here.
What?
The Insurrection Act, under what conditions or terms would you?
Well, I'd do it if it was necessary. So far, it hasn't been necessary, but we have an Insurrection Act for a reason. If I had to enact it, I'd do that. If people were being killed and courts were holding us up, or governors or mayors were holding us up, sure, I'd do that. I mean, I want to make sure that people aren't killed. We have to make sure that our cities are safe. And
Trump has threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act of 1807 to allow him to deploy the U.S. military in America or to completely federalize the National Guard. Problem is, there is no insurrection happening in America. At least not an actual insurrection. But considering judges in states have blocked him from sending the National Guard of other states into Portland, you have Stephen Miller sitting up here saying that that accounts to a legal insurrection, which is just a bogus attempt to try and find some way to invoke the Insurrection Act. He straight up said this in the Oval Office today, saying, we don't have to use it yet, but if all these judges keep getting in my way, then we'll have to use any means necessary in order to go into the war zone or hell zone that he considers all of these Democrat-run cities. I cannot state just how threatening this is and how un-American it is, but it's not surprising in the slightest.
So now let's start today's lesson. We'll start here first in Isaiah chapter 19. Let's go here first. Isaiah chapter 19, because we're seeing right now that he's setting, the Lord is setting the Egyptian against the Egyptian, and out of the Bible, we already know we know that at some part of time that he is going to invoke that Insurrection Act. That's exactly what he wants. Lock down all these major cities. Also, martial law, where you will not be able to go into another city. We'll get that in a minute, too. It says, Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 2 says, and I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian, American against American. It said, and they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city and kingdom against kingdom. So that's what we're getting ready to see, all out mayhem, what I'm saying? There's going to be violence in the land like we have never seen before. So that's what's going to happen. A lot of people are going to rebel. A lot of people are going to buck up against the government. They're not going to regard their kings and princes. We'll get that in a minute. So that's exactly what he's doing. Also, we're seeing that this nation is very, very divided. So if a nation is divided, it cannot stand. So that's where we at right now. Let's drop down to verse 4. Say, and the Egyptian will I give over unto the hands of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, says the Lord of hosts. So one thing about it, we're seeing right now that fierce king, that cruel Lord, which in fact is DJ Donald Trump, AKA Nero. He constantly putting these draconian laws into place, these harsh laws. And one thing about it, it's only going to get worse and worse as it goes forward. So right now, he constantly threatening these officials, these lawmakers, these governors, these judges, I'll do this, I'll do that. So we see it right now that this man is trying to bring this forth as fast as he can, but it's all through the spirit and the power of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. So we seeing that these draconian laws are coming into place left and right. So, there's no new thing under the sun. So we're seeing right now that this man is getting ready to roll on you. That's what we constantly warn you about, left and right. So now let's go here to Second Ezra. Let's go here to Second Ezra chapter 15. Let's get this one right quick. Let's go straight to the point. Second Ezra chapter 15, and we'll start up at verse 15. It says, for the sword and their destruction draws nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another. It said, and swords in their hands. So that's exactly what we're getting ready to see. The modern day sword is the gun, all sorts of weaponry. So we're going to be seeing this left and right. It's going to be a lawless time. That's what he's setting the stage for that, So, that's why he's trying to federalize, the police, federalize, then pretty much, the military is getting ready to be the new police. So that's exactly what he wants, So, we constantly seeing this left and right. Trying little by little, we constantly seeing the plan is putting into place. But one thing about it, we're going to trust and believe in Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. Verse 16 said, For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. So right here, sedition goes into goes into rioting, goes into protesting, uprising. So uproars of the people. So that's exactly what we're seeing in Chicago. It's also getting ready to go down in Portland, Oregon. A lot of different other cities, you know what I'm saying? We seeing it constantly, what the uprising, you know, left and right, you know, and so, you know what I'm saying, they say they're going to be invading one another. So we've been seeing that also. It's ICE patrol been invading, you know, dragging people out of the house. Now all of a sudden now they bucking up against ICE. You know, we seeing that the Chicago mayor, you know, he had put in place that, you know, there's going to be, you know, no ICE zone whereby, you know, these ICE patrol cannot go in certain parts of the city. So we see it right now. They constantly putting these things into place, but we already know that this all part of the plan. So right here, they should not regard government officials, law enforcement, ICE patrol. They're not going to regard each other. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be the Egyptian against the Egyptian, city against city. That's what we're constantly seeing. Verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able because of what? Martial law, because of the Insurrection Act, because of because of these checkpoints, you know what I'm saying? There's lockdowns. A lot of these things are coming into play. That's what we're constantly warning you about. Verse 18 says, for because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. So that's exactly what's going to happen. These cities are going to be very troubled, you know, and also these houses are going to be destroyed, and men shall be very afraid. A lot of people going, you know what I'm saying, going to give up the ghost. A lot of people going to trust in the strength of Egypt. A lot of people are just going to be bugged out of their damn mind. If the Lord is not on your side, you're going to be destroyed. Verse 19 says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their goods. Shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because the lack of bread and great tribulation. Let's read that one more time. 2 Ezra chapter 15 and verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because the lack of bread and great tribulation. So we coming upon a great tribulation, a period that we have never seen before. A lack of bread, lack of what? A resources, food, water, you know, power grid, no internet, you know what I'm saying, no shelter, you know, no clothing, no, you know what I'm saying, it's just gonna be a large, no medication. So a lot of people gonna be very desperate, you know, a lot of people gonna have what you call like a animal instinct, you know what I'm saying, a lot of people, you know, starvation, it's gonna come in a big way, cannibalism, a lot of these things we constantly warning you about. It's gonna be that time of this place is gonna be hell on earth, which in fact we're in hell right now, but it's gonna be more hellish, we'll put it like that. So let's go here. Let's go to this one here. Let's go to Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes, he's speaking sweetly with his lip, but we already knowing that this man is, you know, he's what you call that, you know, that serpent. You know what I'm saying? He's very subtle, cunning, deception, lies, you know what I'm saying? That cunning hunter. Let's go here. Let's go here to Ecclesiastes, Sirach chapter 12, and we'll start up at verse 16. And it reads, and an enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagines how to throw thee into a pit. So he would weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. So, you know, this the MO of what the so-called white man. This man is speaking very sweetly with his lip. We here to make everything safe. We here to make the city safe. We here to make sure everything is running smoothly, you know. But the one thing about, we already know that this man is getting ready to try to throw you in a pit, you know what I'm saying? Put you in these facilities, these FEMA camps, and also take you to the guillotine if you do not bow down to that digital oil. So let's read this once again. Ecclesiastes, Sirach chapter 12 and verse 16 saying, an enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagines how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes. He said, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. So we already know that how you know, he's just like a child. He do a lot of weeping and crying, and out everybody tried to get his way, just like we seeing that DJ doing a lot of complaining and crying. Robert, if I don't get this, I don't get that. I'll do it. You know, just like I said, the Lord is showing you how these people's are, so he won't be satisfied with blood. So this man right here, you know, he gonna show no mercy. Let's see here. Verse 17 says, if adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first. And though he pretend to help thee, see, yet shall he undermine thee. So this man here, he's always on the scene with something going down. We're here to help you. I got the ICE patrol in place to keep the peace, make everything safe again. Let's make America great again. Let's make America white again. You know what I'm saying? We seeing all these things right here in place, pretending. You know what I'm saying? He's getting ready to undermine thee. He's getting ready to bring forth these draconian laws. He's getting ready to bring forth the NWO, total control. Verse 18 say he will shake his head and clap his hands and whisper much and change his countenance. So that's exactly what we're getting ready to see. This man is getting ready to change his countenance. He's getting ready to go back to that old ancient hatred between Esau and Jacob. And also he is the devil that the Bible speak of. And also when you go to Job chapter 9 and verse 24, you know what I'm saying, the earth was given into the hands of the wicked, but only for what? A short time, because what he's saying that his days are determined. Let's go this one right here. Let's go back to the blue letter, and we'll close out right here. Let's go here to Job chapter 15. Job chapter 14 and verse 5. And it reads, says, seeing his days are determined, and the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bound that he cannot pass. So one thing about it, it's a time in the season that, he cannot pass. So we in that time in the season now. So we seeing right now we're at the end of an earth day. We seeing that we're in a transition of power. And also we knowing that our salvation is very close at hand. So this man is seeing that his days are determined. That's why he's trying to put all these things into play, trying to upset prophecy, but it will not happen. The Lord said, as it is written, it shall come to pass. So let's read this once again. It says in the NLT, it says, you have decided the length of our lives. So you know how many months we will live, and we are not given a minute longer. So one thing about it, the Lord already set the bounds. The Lord already has that said measure. So we almost there. The Lord said he do not stir or shake them, until he get that said measure to all things being fulfilled. So that's where we at right now. We seeing that the Lord is constantly bringing forth these prophecies, and also the Lord is putting the spirit on the minds of these leaders right now. You know what I'm saying? We seeing that with our own eyes. When you go to Proverbs chapter, I think it's 21 and verse 1. You know what I'm saying? So we seeing now that the Lord is in perfect control. We see that these prophecies are constantly lining up, just like what the prophet said, starting with what the apostles and the elders of and the bishops and the prophets of great millstone, have been well warned, and he's been telling you about these things for some time. And we're seeing now that they are manifesting right before your eye. These prophecies are constantly lining up just like clockwork. We're seeing it happening, he's seeing that his days are determined. He's seeing right now that, that we got to make a move. We're going to try to stay in power. We need to do this now. But, he's imagining a vain thing. The heathens are raging. And one thing about it, they're getting ready to be taken out of the way. We cannot wait. We constantly rejoice. We're living in some very exciting time. So we're seeing right now, he's seeing that his days are determined. Said the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. So, he can't get over it. He can't get around it. He can't go under it. It is what it is. We had to pay. Now he's getting ready to pay. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. And that's just the way it goes, baby. So we cannot wait. We got next the kingdom of heaven that dwells in righteousness. So the title of the day lesson, once again, is Trump threatens to invoke the Insurrection Act. So I like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rekah Kwadash. I like to say, Shalom, Shalom.